When Michael Jackson filmed his music video for They Don't Care About Us, he chose Brazil, the cities of Rio de Janeiro and Salvador, to highlight the injustices and poverty faced by the African diaspora throughout the Americas. Rio de Janeiro you've heard of, but what have you heard about Salvador Bahia? Salvador Bahia is where you go to feed your curiosity about this massive South American country, where you dig deep into its simultaneously beautiful and painful origins. Bahia was a key center of the early Brazilian slave trade and is considered to have the most distinctive African influence in Brazil in terms of culture and customs. Salvador was Brazil's first capital city and today is home to the largest African diaspora in the world. Of the over 12 million Africans that were dragged, ripped, and kidnapped from their homelands, nearly 5 million ended up in Brazil. 1.5 million in Bahia alone, compared to the 470,000 that ended up in the United States. We chose to start our time in Brazil, in Salvador, intentionally, to truly appreciate the cultural richness in this country. We thought it was important to start at its birthplace. And what we've learned here is something that's going to stay with us forever.
If you're new, we are Jenny and Kevin, a Mexican couple from Chicago, living in Latin America since 2021. If Eat, Baila, Travel is your vibe, make sure to subscribe because that's what we do around here.
We first visited Brazil in 2016 and got a small taste of this beautiful country.
We spent 10 days in Rio de Janeiro and Foz do Iguaçu and loved it and thought, someday we should come back. And nearly 9 years later, here we are.
This time we're here for 6 weeks and even more excited to learn about what makes Brazil such a special place.
Our Portuguese is not as good as it was when we took our trip in 2016 because we studied a lot during that time, but we're pretty rusty now, so we'll see how things go.
That goes.
Luckily, we are bilingual and both English and Spanish are widely spoken languages.
But not here. So we're new territory and it is time to adapt. To explore the heart of the colonial city center, we booked a free walking tour in English because our Portuguese não é suficiente ainda.
Whatever, she speaks really good Portuguese.
No, I don't.
All the taxi drivers are like, oh, você é brasileira,
They just say that to be nice.
Yeah,
That's not true, don't believe him.
The tour was less than 2 hours long and a nice walk through Pelourinho, Brazil's first neighborhood. It was a great way to start learning about the city from a local guide. During the day, you can appreciate its colonial Baroque architecture, colorful buildings, and cobblestone streets. At night, Pelourinho comes alive with music, axé music. It's loud drums and contagious beats. The word axé comes from the West African Yoruba language, meaning blessing, light, or good vibrations, good energy. But behind this beauty, there's pain. Pelourinho became one of the most important points of the slave trade and Brazil's richest cities. This neighborhood got its name after the Portuguese word for whipping post, where slaves were publicly shamed and beaten.
That post was once located on this very square, in front of the now Literary Institute dedicated to famous Brazilian author Jorge Amado. Michael Jackson knew what he was doing when he chose this location to highlight in his music video.
This spot gives us a nice view of another important landmark, the Igreja Nossa Senhora do Rosário dos Pretos, the Church of Our Lady of the Rosary of the Black people. Built by and for slaves over a span of 100 years, because they built it on community funds and voluntarily, enslaved Brazilians yearned for their own place of worship because the Portuguese wanted them to convert to Catholicism but didn't want them in their churches. So they built themselves this beautiful church, both inside and out. But what really stands out about it is that it is the most representative symbol of religious syncretism in Bahia, offering Catholic and Candomblé combined mass service. We were lucky to witness a mass last night. For the first time in our lives, we saw a Catholic Mass with African details and practices. Candomblé is an African-Brazilian religion that combines West and Central African beliefs with the Roman Catholicism brought by the Portuguese. Candomblé is based on the traditional religions of the Yoruba, Bantu, and Be peoples.
Walking through the streets of Pelourinho feels like walking through a time capsule.
It's no surprise that this neighborhood is a designated World Heritage Site, recognized for its colonial architecture and significant African cultural influence. You'll see it in the art, You'll feel it with the beat of the drums, and you'll taste it in its food.
So we've been here for a week and a half, and the energy has been very lively. But right now that we're getting closer to Carnaval, you can feel the energy pump up to another level. They're starting to decorate all the streets. I'm excited because we're going to be here for the beginning of it. Salvador tends to be really, really hot, especially with the sun. The sun is blazing, and one thing that's really crazy is that the sun rises at 5 in the morning. So by like 9 o'clock, the sun is at its full, 9 in the morning, the sun is at its full potential. One way to cool down is by having a limonada de coco, or what they call suco de limão.
Con coco.
Con coco.
Let's have one. They're
It's
so good.
so good. You got to try one of these.
Doesn't it remind you so much of the limonada de coco from Colombia?
It does, but it has less sugar, and the limon tastes way better than the one.
So different.
Because the one from Colombia is a little bit creamier.
Let me see.
I like this one better. I'm
The other
more of
one's
a tart
usually
dude.
granizado. They usually make it like with ice. This one's just straight juice. Wow. You guys, any chance that you get to try the fruit in Brazil, take it. That's, I think all we eat is meat and fruit. Chicken, fish, meat, fruit. Oh my gosh, this is heavenly. I can't even tell you everything that's in it, but it's amazing. So we've been seeing lots of people with this white body paint all over them, and we've been curious, what is this about? We finally made a friend to help us learn about what is this. Seu nome é?
My name is Márcio Moura.
Márcio Moura, prazer conhecê-lo.
Nice to meet you. Prazer em conhecer.
E então, de que se trata isso? Tem algum significado?
Sim, essa pintura ela tem que ver com a resistência cultural da Bahia.
Es una forma de honrar sus raíces
Sim, sim.
y representar, como me comentaste, la resistencia del pueblo.
Acá já tinha uma certa cultura de pintura, pero não com essa tinta branca. Os indígenas acá hacían as pinturas com uma tinta natural que se llama ginipapo.
Qué padre, gracias por compartir con nosotros. Ya estoy lista para que me pinten.
Oh, vamos, então vamos.
All the drawings have a specific reason and explanation for being here, and Marcio's going to help us understand.
Essa flor ela representa a força feminina, né? A cosmovisão, né? O poder feminino. Ela justamente é uma flor que ela original, são duas, uma flor com outras flores, né?
Uma flor com outras
três flores. Essa flor ela representa a força feminina, a força da mulher, a cosmovisão, e também é ligada à questão também da fertilidade, né? Que eu esqueci de falar também sobre isso também. Ela é um arquétipo que ela representa também ao orixá Yansan, assim como a pintura também, ela é algo relacionado ao orixá. Orixá é a força personificada antes de la fuerza sagrada personificada.
De candomblé.
Da cultura afro-brasileira.
Da cultura afro.
Sim,
okay.
sim.
Afro
Os orichas, né?
Obrigada.
Este dibuixo acá, que te mostro, acá é um sankofa. Sankofa é um desenho que representa passado e futuro. É uma ave com um pequeno, com um ovo na boca, né? Que quer dizer...
I see the bird, yeah.
Yes.
Uma ave,
né, uma ave. E esse desenho de cima para baixo, né? Agora, de um lado ao outro, na vertical, na horizontal, nós temos um desenho Tupinambá. Tupinambá Pataxó, né? Um desenho Pataxó, que é a tribo que quando chegaram os primeiros invasores, colonizadores portugueses aqui na cidade.
Já existiam, já moravam.
Já existiam nossos povos, né? Os povos neocolombianos, colombianos, astecas e todos, né?
Nós. Das Américas.
Então, os povos das Américas, né? Só que a nossa cultura não é destruir. Vivíamos, esses povos que viviam em harmonia com a natureza, né? Os povos originários, né? Nossos povos originários. Então, essa é a mais pura mistura da cultura afro-brasileira, africana, com a cultura brasileira.
Uau!
E assim temos uma pintura de muito axé.
Bellísimo, muito obrigada por você, Márcio.
Grata a ti.
Vocês podem, you can follow Márcio on Instagram. Você
Sim,
tem
no Instagram, sim.
Ele he's an artist, not just a painter, but he creates music. Check him out, guys. Instagram on the screen.
É, Márcio Dredd Oficial. Você bota Márcio Dredd Oficial, tudo junto, já estará.
Bahia is well known in Brazil for having some of the most flavorful food, thanks to its heavy African influences on Portuguese recipes using local indigenous ingredients. All of that makes for some really interesting meals.
There are lots of great restaurants in Pelourinho to experience the Bahian gastronomy. During the 2 weeks that we stayed in the neighborhood, we tried several. So here are a few highlights.
One of the must-try street foods in Bahia is the acarajé. Acarajé, originally a food from West Africa, is a fried bean cake, usually a ball of mashed black-eyed peas that is deep-fried in palm oil. It's then split in half and stuffed with vatapá, a gooey paste, a bit of tomato salad, and shrimp. Oh, and of course, lots of pimenta.
Obrigada. Provar
I just understood that you want spicy, and I said yes.
Pimenta, if they say you want pimenta, I'll say yes. Bahia is known for upping their spice level compared to the rest of Brazil, so you do gotta be a little careful. How is it?
This
I
is
think-
really good.
I think he's like it. He's stuffing his face into it.
Vatapá is
Vatapá.
so good. Vatapá is so good.
Yeah. This fountain is special for two reasons. One, because it was the first potable fountain in the community, and two, because it is known as Wish Fountain. Our tour guide told us that you make a wish here. He didn't exactly go into the logistics of how to make a wish, but judging by all the ribbons tied on there, I would assume that you tie a ribbon and you make a wish. However, there is an interesting story about these ribbons. We were told that it comes from a tradition where the churches used to give these out as gifts to promote people to attend their mass services. But then at some point it turned into a tourist trap. So if somebody tries to hand you one of these ribbons, just beware. Nothing's free. Nothing's ever really free around here. Olá, boa tarde, linda.
Boa tarde,
Como tá?
tudo bom?
Tudo bom?
Meu nome é Shirley Souza,
Ok.
sou uma baiana receptiva.
Muito prazer. E o que é a baiana? O que representa?
A baiana representa a representatividade. A baiana é aquela africana que veio para cá e foi escravizada. Ela saía para comercializar, né? O acarajé, que ela é representatividade, é a mãe do Brasil, ou quem sabe internacional.
A mãe do Brasil.
Claro,
Que lindo.
ela que gerou o Brasil, ela veio, ela fazia o parto, ela ia para as feiras comercializar o xarope, ela fazia o parto das mulheres, ela rezava. Não tinha médico naquela época, mas a mulher ela não poderia se prontificar a nada, ela não tinha formação de nada.
When you see a baiana in Salvador, feel free to take a picture, tirar fotos com vocês. They are here to honor their origins, their roots from Africa, to continue to honor their roots in Bahia and the contributions that they continue to make here in Brazil. They have a government-recognized association, Associação Baiana
Mingau e acarajé, mingau e
Mingau.
afins.
Obrigada. Prazer conhecê-la. Obrigada.
De nada, obrigado também.
Being a major port area, this is not necessarily the area for beaches, since boats and docks take up most of the space. For beaches in Salvador, you want to head out to Barra, Rio Vermelho, or the neighborhood of Pituba, which we'll be showing you in upcoming vlogs. So if you haven't subscribed, right now is the time to do so.
There are beautiful views of the bay from up here behind the Elevador La Cerda. This is a famous elevator because it's apparently the first public elevator in the world. Conveniently connects the lower and upper parts of the city, but inconveniently, however, it is currently closed for repairs. So in order to get down there, or up here if you're down there, you want to take an Uber or a taxi. It's not recommended to walk up the lonely streets. Even during the daytime, avoid lonely streets. It's not that Salvador is unsafe per se, it's just you don't want to give papaya, like they say in Colombia. There are lots of really cool museums in this area. We so far have visited the Afro-Brazilian Cultural Museum. It was amazing. You also definitely don't want to miss the Casa do Carnaval, the Carnival Museum. We haven't yet gone inside, but we'll be going next week, and it'll be in next week's vlog. But the reason we're heading in this direction is because we're hoping to catch the funicular to take down before it closes. It's another way to get up and down between the lower and upper parts of the city since the elevator is closed. If the funicular is closed, which it does so every day at 5 p.m., then again, your options are Uber or taxi. Let's see if we make it. There's a line. Yay, we made it. We stopped by for another one of these off camera, but we finally made it to Mercado Modelo, which is a souvenir or artesanías mercado. We're not gonna shop, we're only here to look, I promise. Won't buy anything. The miniature version of the instrument they use in Capoeira. I don't know what it's called.
It's a beautiful market. Honestly, it looks like a
really
historical
is.
building, no?
I didn't notice that there's restaurants and tables up on the second floor. It's really pretty. But the sun's beaming at those tables right now. I don't know if I'd want to sit there right now.
Capoeira is one of the most symbolic features of Brazilian culture, and that too was born here in Bahia. It is a martial art that combines dance, music, acrobatics, and spirituality. It started during Brazil's period of slavery, when enslaved Africans intertwined music and dance to mask the fact that they were training and planning revolts. When slavery was abolished in 1888, making it one of the last countries in the Americas to abolish slavery, Capoeira was declared illegal because authorities feared it gave strength to the afro-Brazilian communities.
Here's what I think the Americas could learn from Salvador Bahia. I reference the entire region because there's no country in the Americas literally that did not benefit from slave labor. But what I think Salvador and Bahia do really well is making that history and their African roots front and center of what they have to offer. Not brushing it under the rug, not trying to pretend like it didn't happen like a lot of other places too in the United States. Salvador does a beautiful job of elevating the contributions that African populations, that they're Afro-Brazilian, that they're indigenous populations have made throughout history and continue to make and continue to contribute to the rich culture of this beautiful area. And I'm not just talking about tourism. Those who really want to learn about the roots and the birth of Brazil, I do feel like this is an amazing place to come and learn about that. But beyond just experiencing it as a tourist, I noticed that the city does a great job of offering social programs for its Afro-descendants, for its Afro-Brazilians. In Bahia, it's the Africanness, it's that mix of cultures that makes this place really special, and I'm really grateful that we got to experience it up close.
And it's about to get good. Join us in our next vlog where we get to experience the world's biggest street party, Carnaval in Salvador. Don't forget to leave us a comment and let us know what you thought of this video. Or if you don't have much to say and want to show your support, make sure to drop that Brazilian flag emoji in the comments below. Se cuidan, se bañan, y nos vemos hasta la próxima.
Ciao. Wait, I think we might need to learn that in Portuguese now. How do you say se cuidan, se bañan? We'll have it for next time. Bye.